Uh, it's a rejoiceful day. It's not a mourning day, it's a celebration. It's something that our guy, Garrett Crumby, would have wanted. He was always a cheery guy, he was a happy guy, he was a uplifting guy. He wanted a smile on your face. And that's
in terms of the movement, are you going to have any future meeting with the mayor?
And not mourn him.
In terms of the movement.
Sacrificed his life for us. He sacrificed his life for you all. And we're thankful for that. And we're going to honor him because that's what he did.
And what was your relationship to him? I believe you were the supervisor?
Yes. I was Garrett's supervisor for roughly about going on 2 years. Garrett came from the South Precinct, got transferred to the West Precinct under my supervision. And doing so, I was his supervisor for roughly about 2 years. Yes.
Can you tell us what it was like working with him? We heard such good things, back last year, but can you tell us a little bit about what he was like as an officer?
So, our roll call, we normally have 2 different roll calls. Garrett's roll call was the first one, which started at 2 p.m. Normally, Garrett will arrive roughly about 1:30-ish, maybe 1:40. As mentioned before, he always had either a Subway sandwich or a honey bun or something in his hands that he's eating on, along with some milk or something else. So his seat, as you're walking in, it's on the right-hand side. He always sits in the middle. But he'll sit right there, eat his sandwich or eat his food, and converse with us because the officers are trickling in between 1:30 and 2 for their roll call. And while doing so, they're cracking jokes, they're laughing, they're talking about different calls that took place, how they learn, different policies, just they're being officers, they're being guys, they're being friends, they're being brothers. They're bonding, and that's what officers do. We bond, and that's how we love on each other.
When you talk about what the last year has looked like without a member here at the West Precinct, what have you seen officers do to rally together around the fact that one of their own is no longer with us?
We support and we love one another. We protect one another. Normally there are different calls that we go to solo, such as maybe a shoplifting call that's a victim-only call, but now you will see several officers show up together because we're going to protect each other. We don't know what that call is going to consist of, so we're going to always show up more, and that's something that I've seen lately, something between this past year. These guys, when you see one, just know his brother's going to come right behind him. And that's one thing that these guys do. So.
We talked about the West Precinct. All of Huntsville, all of Madison County was greatly shaken by this event. Have you seen more law enforcement stick together since then, not just members of Huntsville Police, but also Madison Police, Madison County Sheriffs?
Most definitely. Most definitely. Right now we are in a time where law enforcement is it's a needed thing that not just the city needs, the state needs, the world needs, just because of the things that's going on in life. So yes, to answer your question, law enforcement, we are bonding together a lot more, not just the city helping each other, but they are also helping the state. You'll see sometimes these guys out on the interstate with Madison, with the county, with state troopers. It doesn't matter if you're HPD, you're a brother in blue, and that's we round each other. I mean, we help each other often.
And how has his loss impacted Huntsville, the community?
Garrett was a great guy. Many didn't know him. Many wasn't able to really see him or talk to him, but the ones that did, he truly affected him, or truly affected them. I remember the episode of Jerry Hayes, who recently retired. He spoke well of him, along with the gentleman that he helped out. his loss, it just brought to life how fast you can lose your life in this job that we do, this profession that we have.
And what will you all miss most about Garrett?
His smile, his laughter, his jokes, his comparison. As I mentioned before, we always hear, well, Tuscaloosa used to do this, and well, this is not Tuscaloosa, Garrett. So his comparison of the stories, like it was every day, it was something different. It was a different story, but he was a veteran. He did multiple years with Tuscaloosa, so he had the rights to compare Tuscaloosa to HPD, and we can bounce back, well, this is what HPD does, and this is what Tuscaloosa does. So that one thing we will always miss.
And we're still waiting for legal action. Can you talk a little bit about what does justice look like for Garrett?
I don't, for Garrett, I don't know. It's up to the Justice Department. It's up to the legal department. Hey, it's whatever they're going to do, it's up to them.
Well, we'll have two more questions. They're going to have to get in the field for patrol there, so we'll have time for two more questions.
I just want to ask, is there any specific memories that stick out to you about him? I know you worked pretty closely, and you talked about, him getting his Subway sandwich and everything, but is there any kind of specific memory that sticks out that really represents who he is?
Yeah, as I mentioned, he loved the Mustang. So in order to check out the Mustang, you got to get a supervisor sign off. And he always just come to my door, knock on the door. I see the paper in his hands, like, yep, well, the Mustang, you got it. Hand it here. And I sign off and be safe, take care of it, and always say, drive it like you stole it.
Aside from speaking with us today, and I'm sure it might be different for each person, but are you guys doing anything, to honor him or to remember him on, this day?
As always, we're pulling together, we're supporting one another, and we're backing each other. And that's how we're going to honor him. So.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Did you want to say anything? Did you want to say anything? If not, if we could just get one question.
Well, let them go on.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, if I fall over, it's y'all's fault.
Mind you, you can go on the other side. Just keep us out of any while you're interviewing.
We'll make it pretty quickly, Scott. Just a hard day for everybody here. We talked to you a lot last year right after all this happened, Is there anything you wanted to say to the community about who Garrett was or just, how it felt going through this as a department?
Well, the officers and Sergeant Hyder spoke earlier about how much Garrett meant to us and so forth. What meant a lot to us with the community outpouring support, very, very supportive. I mean, I couldn't even begin to fathom, best to you how much. We got so many cards and letters and phone calls, and not only to Garrett, but to Officer Morin too, who was critically wounded in the hospital. So that means a lot. It means a lot to the officers to see the community step up, if you would.
How is Officer Morin?
He's doing okay. He's doing okay. He has his own struggles, as you can imagine, but he's doing real well.
As he,
every day since Garrett had passed has meant something. And what I was telling the guys in the back was, you know, Garrett had a way of going about his day. And so he would want us to carry out the same way. And that's what we try to do, you know, because Garrett's life certainly was not in vain. And with that said, we just remember him every day. I mean, it's not just today. We think about him every day.
One more thing that I had that you said earlier, you know, today is not necessarily a day to be sad and to be, you know, something that is a day to remember and celebrate the life. Is that how y'all are treating it? And if so, what are some of the
Yeah, Garrett wouldn't want us to be hanging our head down. He would not. He would, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Sherman, he would be embarrassed about all the, you know, the hip flu or whatever you want to call it. So to honor Garrett, to continue to be the professional police officer that he was, and for us to be, would be the best thing we can do to honor him.
You and I were talking over the phone earlier this week.
I'm sorry?
You and I were talking over the phone this
Yes,
week,
ma'am.
Chief, and just talking about how important of a day it is to remember. And, you know, you even just had surgery yourself this week, but you said, I'm going to be here, I'm committed. Can you talk about just the lasting impact on the community that this day holds?
Well, I mean, you know, you see behind you Officer Kelsey, we call him Kelsey, Officer Golden, who was killed. And just when you lose somebody like that, whether it be a Garrett or a Kelso or any of the officers we've lost, it takes a piece out of you. You know, it's the least we can do to remember them the way we have. And the most we can do is to carry ourselves in their honor. I'm sorry?
Is there anything else you wanted to add? Or?
One question for you. You know, what do you want people to remember about Officer Crumby? You know, not just today as we mark 1 year since his passing, but what do you want people to remember every day?
Well, Garrett in and of himself was a spectacular person and a wonderful officer. And that was obvious in the way he carried out his job. And that's obvious in the way he was raised. And so, with that said, we want people to remember that. That's what we all strive to be, is somebody like Garrett Crumby. You know, just grab a crutch while I fall over.
So Ms. Sherman, she doesn't want to speak, but she did come and give every officer in his squad a challenge coin.
Can y'all zoom in on that? Take it out. Just tell us about it, we will take a picture of it later.
Okay, it's a challenge coin that has Garrett's picture on there, Officer Garrett Crumby, and it has his end of watch, 3/28 of 23. So it's just a little memento that came from the family, for a little token for all the officers to have. That, you know, the challenge coins is a big thing. We have a lot of officers that collect these, and this is something that they can have from Ms. Sherman to remember him by. So thought I'd share that with you. Thank you.
I appreciate y'all remembering Garrett as well. Thank y'all. All right. I'm sending my wife get me home so I can get off these crutches. You ready? Let's go.
We'll take turns.
Does it need to come out?
That'd be great. Then we can just take turns going over there and get the whole thing.
Thank y'all again. Appreciate it.
Are you doing okay with the crutches? Are you doing okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had an idea, but
Well, hopefully a quick recovery.
I hope so.